Hello everyone, thank you for joining us on Texas Insider. I'm Jim Cardle. We're pleased today to be able to visit with Representative Sid Miller, Chairman of the Homeland Security and Public Safety Committee. Sid, you are in your 6th term from Stephenville and the Erath County neighborhood, but most importantly today, thanks a bunch for coming in. We're going to talk a little bit about the Sonogram bill and the 3-day extended debate that's been going on, finalized with a final vote here this morning. But Representative, tell us about 3 days extended battle. You've been through a lot. What was it like? Tell us what the difficulties were.
Well, we were on the floor, I think the longest day was Thursday. We were on there 8 or 9 hours straight. 34 amendments to the amendments. We fought all those off and kept the bill intact. It's a real strong bill. It's a 24-hour waiting period before the abortion can be performed.
Stronger than the Senate, some of our listeners will know a little bit.
It is, and there's no carve-outs. Every woman is going to be offered this to view the sonogram and hear the description and hear the heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
So we think it's a very strong bill, very conservative measure that we promised the voters back before the legislative session that we would move on this issue. It was the first bill out of the House and sent to the Senate.
First bill.
Yes.
And you mentioned Thursday was the longest day. There were dozens upon dozens of amendments, but yet at the end you're able to pass something without a carve-out. And there are conservatives, everybody's into this misconception that it's not conservative because, I think it's a misconception. I want you to answer about what it mandates women to do, or does it, in fact?
Well, there is a misconception that this bill would require a woman to receive a sonogram. That's the misconception. Actually, a sonogram is standard medical practice prior to an abortion. So if this bill passes and becomes law, there will be no more sonograms. The increase, there will be none.
Because the market's already doing it.
You already have to have it done. For a physician to know how to perform the procedure, he has to know how old the unborn child is, how it's located, if they're twins, any number of things. So that's how they find out as they perform. First thing they do is perform a sonogram. We just simply want to make that sonogram available to the woman, make sure she knows what she's doing. Right now, the testimony committee was that even though she paid for that sonogram, she wasn't allowed to view it. And I think that's just almost a crime.
Well, let me ask you about that in particular, because in any medical procedure, as a patient, one would want, it seems, as much information as possible.
Sure.
But yet, I don't believe that was always the case, correct? With
it was
a sonogram.
Hardly ever the case, because if you sit down with your doctor and he says, okay, here's the MRI, here's what we're looking at, here's your options. If we do surgery, this is the complications, here's the recovery time. That never happens in the abortion setting. Matter of fact, the woman never actually gets to meet the doctor. The only time she sees the doctor is when she's wheeled into the operating room, sedated, under anesthesia. Of course, the doctor has a cap on and a mask on. He performs the procedure, discards everything, and walks out of the room. Under this piece of legislation, the woman would actually get to sit down with a licensed sonographer or the doctor himself.
Okay.
And get to ask questions about the procedure.
Really?
And view a sonogram of the unborn child, listen to the heartbeat, have the doctor or the sonographer give a verbal explanation and how to interpretation of the sonogram.
So
we think that'll save lives.
That's all beneficial information, whether you're having a broken arm or going in for a tooth extraction.
Except for this medical procedure, it's standard practice for any doctor to sit down and do that, but it's not happening in this case.
How about, were there any particular arguments? I've heard the Senate debate a couple weeks ago, and then watching what you all went, that this is already done by Planned Parenthood, or is not. Do you anticipate that the procedure itself is going to be, or the sonogram sharing itself is going to be done in greater numbers, or is it just simply the woman having access to the information?
This is basically about informed consent. When she goes in, they're going to perform a sonogram. We just want to make sure that she is able to view that. Mm-hmm. Currently, even women that request to view it are not given a chance to see.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
Well, there is.
So it's withheld from them.
It's being withheld now. And there's the other argument is, well, you're going to make someone see this that doesn't really want to see it. If maybe someone that's been raped or a case of incest or a fetal abnormality. Actually, there's a carve out in the bill. Any woman that chooses not to look at it doesn't have to. She simply signs an affidavit that it was offered to me.
So it's not as if it is a mandate that you're requiring. It gives them the option.
We just want to make sure they have the option. We're not going to force anyone to do anything against their will. But that affidavit goes in the medical file, and we're very serious about this. If that facility does not follow the law, put that in the file, we're going to have their license revoked on the very first offense for the doctor and the facility.
You're absolutely right. A serious issue here. It's the first of what I understand is going to be more conservative legislation coming down the line. And let's switch gears a little bit. Going back a couple weeks ago, you were vocal in your support for Speaker Strauss.
Yes,
I think some of the conservatives across the state, or in particular the Tea Party folks, are coming around and giving you all a little breathing room. But you've got your sonogram bill, work that out with the Senate. Then I believe we heard earlier today there's going to be voter ID maybe this week. What do you see in terms of your session delivery to the voters on a conservative agenda?
Well,
is that hopeful or overstating?
No, and that's why my position was all on. I was working with Speaker Strauss long before the Speaker's race on this particular issue. So it's something that's been on his mind and the leadership in the House. We're kicking out voter ID this week, sanctuary cities, eminent domain, and those along with the sonogram bill will be the first four bills on the floor of the Texas House. Then we're going to send them all to the Senate with overwhelming numbers in votes.
And then you've got the budget and redistricting to take up.
We do have to get to that too.
Okay, you've been here 6 terms.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a session? Let's put it in that perspective. That is a lot of significant work in a short amount of time. Is that groundbreaking?
That is groundbreaking. We, with just redistricting is tough enough, and then an upside down budget like we've got, and then all these conservative issues. We need to get this done. We need to get it done this session. This is the largest Republican majority we'll have in the House probably in a long time. I'm not even sure that we can hold the numbers that we have. We have so many seats. President Obama will be back on the ticket. The Democrats will turn out the next election. So we're going to have our work cut out for us. We need to get this done in this session.
Well, we're going to leave it there. Representative Miller, thanks a bunch.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
right. There's plenty of work to do. We'll have you back to visit about your Homeland Security chairmanship.
Thank you.
Certainly. And I would be remiss if I did not mention and give you accolades for your calf roping championship that you've held in the past with the Austin Rodeo coming up here before too long. Folks, we appreciate you listening. Chairman Miller, thank you again. Be sure and join us in the future for another discussion here at Texas Insider. I'm Jim Cardle. Thanks.